Jill, I don't hear you if you're talking.
Yep, I'm here. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Sales User webinar. We will be
How
covering
about now?
WeOpportunity 101 and lead creation and management.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Anyone just want to put in the chat really quick that they can hear me?
Hi, Sam. Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me? Thank you guys for confirming. All right, I'll just continue here. Today we're going to go through the following: personalizing your dashboard, creating new leads from both prospecting and inbound leads, manage leads and opportunities, including completing opportunity information, managing tasks and notes, adding contacts, and more. Promote leads to estimates and view the pipeline reports. As always, we want you to get the most out of your time today. So if you have any questions at any time throughout the webinar, don't be shy. Even if it's because we've gone too fast and you want to see or hear something again, let us know in the chat section. Also, just let us know if you're having any technical difficulties like hearing us, and we'll make sure to get that rectified. So now I'll let Sam know that she can begin the webinar.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Michelle. So we are going to jump right into all things WeOpportunity today. We've got a full house, so feel free to put questions into the chat as we go, and I will stop periodically to go through them. But main learning objectives today are all the basics of WeOpportunity. So we're going to go all the way through creating a new opportunity and moving that over into a quote, managing the opportunity through the funnel, and then setting up some defaults for your dashboard and for some of the reporting so that you can start using it to track what you need to do for the day as a salesperson. So we'll start first with the dashboard. I am logged into my fake sales guy, Joe, and I'm going to see a few windows of information right on the classic dashboard. You might, when you first log in, see the accounts dashboard. And so this is an alternate dashboard you could set as your default. I might have let this time out. Let me relog in really quick here. And so the classic dashboard just gives you quick windows of information and statistics on how you're doing, whereas the account dashboard is more along the lines of drilling into certain customer profiles. And so I'm going to log in here. Okay, so like I mentioned, classic dashboard is going to have quick panes of information, how I'm doing against my quota, where are my opportunities at, any upcoming tasks that I have. Now, I'm not integrated to a calendar here with Joe, but as soon as I start adding tasks in either WeSuite or Outlook syncing to WeSuite, we also integrate with Google Calendar, you would see your tasks here. Things like untouched leads. So all these little cubbies have different bits of information, and you can expand and contract each one, put them in an order that you like, and then save that as your default dashboard. The account dashboard allows you to drill into certain customer accounts. So you'd see a list of your current customers down below here, and I could search, Valley Hospital, and it's going to give me a search of all my customer accounts and any leads and jobs that I've done for those particular customers. I personally prefer the classic dashboard and then running reports on customers myself. So let's customize the classic dashboard so that it makes sense. I'm going to go to my user in the top right, and I'm going to click My Settings. And this is where you're going to set up your overall settings for your user. And so if you wanted to change your username or password, it would be here. If you needed to change any of your personal information like phone, cell phone, how you want your tasks to show on your calendar. And then if you don't have a confirmation when you have like maybe many leads open at once, and you want to um, have that confirmation when you hit close all tabs that it says, are you sure you want to do that? I would turn this on. The dashboard settings, then, again, you have your default dashboard that you want to see as soon as you log in. I have mine set to classic. And then I have settings for the classic dashboard here and for the account dashboard here. So the classic dashboard settings are going to give you settings for each of the little cubes that you have. So for my tasks, I want to see tasks upcoming in the next 72 hours. Maybe I want my untouched leads. I'm going to hit edit and change that to 168 hours, which is leads I haven't touched in 1 week. So it is set in hours, so just calculate that by the number of days in which you want to consider something untouched. And so as if I have a lead I have not touched, meaning the update date is not being updated, right? I've not added notes, I've not changed status, I've not done anything to that lead. It's considered untouched and it will land in that bucket after 168 hours. I want to see my opportunities. So there's a cubby that's just strictly my opportunities, and I can say, what do you want that filter to be? Leads I've touched within the last month, within the last week, all my leads, or I could put in a date range. I personally wouldn't suggest date range, as if you put the 2 to now, you're going to have to keep moving that. So I would set it to either one of these current time frames like month or week, or just set it to all. My statistics are going to show in these graphs. So I want to see my statistics for this year. So let's change it to 2025. And I want to change these statistics as well to 2025. And I'm happy with this, so I'm going to hit save. Okay, so once you've done that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log off and refresh my screen here. And you're going to see the new settings. So I now have my goals for 2025. Now I have all my quotas are in here as orange. I've not done any sales yet, so I got to get my my demo guy to win a few things, and I'd see the green toolbar, bar graph start to grow here. And then I also can see the opportunities and the untouched leads, and all those now are set on the new durations that I've set. Now, let's say you wanted untouched leads to go a little higher here. I'm actually going to move untouched leads to the top of my page. And I want my statistics over here. And I'm going to put my opportunity stats over here. Okay, and so I can rearrange these, and now I'm happy with it. I'll save it, and the next time I log in, this is how my dashboard is going to look. So let's start recording leads. The next piece would be the menu here on the left. Now, dependent on your user permissions, you're going to see certain sections. So if you don't have the prospecting module on, you wouldn't see this top section. If you don't have any of the reporting on, you wouldn't see this section, right? Settings is for most of the system admins for this backend settings of the system. But most of you should see a lot of what I'm seeing. And none of these are paid add-ons. They can all just be turned on in your user profile, and you can limit what people see based on them only seeing reports on themselves or prospecting plans on themselves, versus other people may have the ability to see other people's stuff. So the 4 icons here at the top are just kind of quick access. I can collapse this panel if I want and just have more real estate here on the main screen. I can hit the plus sign to start a new lead. I can click the calendar to go straight to my global calendar, or this is a quick button to get back to the dashboard. I'm going to hit the blue plus sign and create a new lead. I can also do that by just going to lead management and then clicking the new opportunity tab, but this is just a quicker way to do that. So it's asking me if I'm going to create a new lead. I'm going to say yes, and it brings me right to lead management on the new opportunity tab. And so that anything you select on the left will open a new tab here at the top for you in the center. So in lead management, I could view existing leads. And so again, I can see my opportunities and the different statuses my leads are in. I can search for leads. And if I have the ability to, I can see other people's leads too. And so here you could see salespeople I manage. In the new opportunity tab is where I'm going to create a new lead, and I'm going to start by searching, and I'm going to search Valley Hospital. And I would recommend always searching first and seeing if you've done any work for them or if there's ever been a lead in the system for this particular customer. And so I can see that it is lit up in orange. I am able to indicate that, so that orange highlight means that it is coming from an integrated accounting system. So if you are integrated with QuickBooks, Sedona Office, Field Hub, ISM, Mastermind, right? We're integrated with a lot of different accounting and ERP systems. And so this is telling me that that is a current customer with a current customer ID and any site addresses we've done work at before. If it's black and white, like Valley Street Church, that just means a lead has been created at some point in time. I see one existing lead, but it's in a quote stage with Joe. It never became a sale, so thus it never became a customer on the accounting side. So that's just the difference between the highlight and just the black and white. So it is always good to search first because in this case, yeah, we worked with Valley Street Hospital back in 2023. There's an open quote, but nothing ever happened with it. I'm going to create a new lead and let's do Valley Hospital. And another quick tip is that when I click the customer, it's saying I have 39 existing leads at that customer. But when I click the site address, it's saying 3 of those 39 leads are for that site. So you can drill down to the customer level or the site level. So you may say, yeah, I have a current customer, but a new site, or current customer, current site, and then hit go at the bottom. So I'm going to do that, hit go. It's asking if I'm going to keep or pass this lead because I can do either. If you can only, you're only a passer of leads or you're only a salesperson that does, enters in your own leads, you wouldn't see this. I'm going to keep it as a salesperson, but I will show some of the passing options. And now we're just filling in the basic customer site contact. Now, because I selected a current customer and current site, they're auto-filled, but I do have the opportunity to change to a different site, or I could clear it and say, yes, I do want to use this same customer ID, but it is a new location we are working with. And for contacts, same thing. If I have contacts existing in either the integrated accounting system or WeSuite system, they will be lit up in this orange color or black and white. Again, I use Valley Hospital and George quite often. That's why I have a lot of duplicates, but you can see pretty easy to make duplicates. So you just always want to search and make sure you're using existing info as much as you can. So save yourself some typing. Now, any of the red starred fields are just the minimum required fields I need to fill in, but fill in as much as you can because it is a one and done. All this info will eventually move to the quote, to the proposal, to the contract, and so you never have to enter in this info more than once. Your system admin will have control of the red starred fields, so if, for example, you wanted to require email, you could go ahead and do that. I will move on to the lower half of the screen here, and a few buttons I will point out. We can import contacts from Outlook, or we could export contacts if you've written them in WeSuite first and then export them over there. Google too. So again, you don't have to enter it in twice. And then the first drop down we're going to get to is contact type. All the drop downs within the system are customizable, some of which are actually auto-filled from other systems, which is nice. I'll get to that in a second. But contact type is a drop down if you'd like to use it. It's kind of in addition to title. If I wanted to sort by the type of contacts I'm speaking with, great to run a report, make sure you're indicating who's the decision maker versus influencer, the owner versus a contractor, things like that. So I'm going to hit continue, and we'll now have officially created this lead. Now I will pause because there are a few questions in the chat. So first question was about this left-hand panel and the sales tools. So the question is about maps. Probably not the best to dive into that right this second, but I will just click on that real quick. The purpose of maps was to be able to pull up a map of where you are located, and then it would drop pins where your leads are. So if you don't mind, I'm going to circle back to that, continue forward with the lead that I'm working on, and then we'll come back to the maps and I can show you how that works. But essentially, it's a map. I can drop pins of leads I already have in my system, and then I can see, okay, where is kind of the heat index of all of my leads, or even get directions somewhere. So I will come back to that one. But in general, these sales tools under here, this is your global schedule. This was the map I was just talking about. This is just the contact book within the system. And marketing dashboard is kind of a specialty feature that if you're not using it, it's probably not even on. Okay, so coming back to the Valley Hospital lead, so it's created lead number 14094, and it opens a new tab for me. So I can come back and I can start another new lead, or I can open another lead that I've been working on. And so what's nice is you can have as many leads open at once. They'll just all open up along the top here. And then this close all tabs I was mentioning, if you have that setting on, it will first ask you, are you sure you want to do that? That way, if you click that, it doesn't just shut down all the tabs that you have. Within this lead, I then have this menu starting at opportunity info all the way down to pass lead, which you wouldn't even see this pass lead tab unless you had the permissions to pass leads. So in the opportunity info tab, you have your classic, how did the lead come in? Incoming call. How did they hear about us? It was a referral from a customer. What's the market vertical? Healthcare. What is the type of sale? Let's say it's a new installation. And so these 4 drop downs are all customizable by your system admins. And so you can add or subtract from these. I see lead source probably changes the most often if you're running a campaign, or you're going to a certain trade show, or you've done any paid marketing and you want to track how people are hearing about you. And I've also seen some variations of things like market vertical, right? I have a pretty healthy list here of market verticals. I had another client they had 2 choices, residential and commercial. Another person, same thing, 2 choices. They had more than 4,000 square feet, less than 4,000 square feet. So it really depends on the type of data that you're trying to track. I personally think more than 2. It's good to track certain market verticals, but you also don't want to give your salespeople a list of 50 options. Type of sale is also more overall type of sale. We will get into job type, system type when we get to the quote, but this is more things like, is it a new install? Is it an add or an upgrade? Is it a move? Is it bid versus negotiated, service only, parts only? So that would all fall under type of sale. And again, the red starred fields I have to fill in before I can hit save. And then the rest are just available to me on a lead by lead basis. Or your system admin might require certain fields. So things like estimated budget, that's exactly what it is. Customer said, I have a $10,000 budget, and you think based on what they want, they'll probably pay $500 a month. And we're going to do an integrated access and video system. Maybe you are participating in a bid or an RFP and there is a due date of that. You can set that. I have to set a close date for forecasting, so I'm going to put it for 3 months out. Pipeline is a customizable drop down, and I'm going to say we're at the first appointment stage. Now, a lot of people use pipeline differently. What's nice about this drop down is that it's a blank slate. You can create as many options as you want, and you can put in a percentage and then what that percentage means to the organization. So that way everyone's on the same sheet of music here. If I say I'm at 20%, we all know we're at that first contact step. Or if I'm at 45%, then I've walked the site and we're now, defining the scope of work. This will take a weighted factor of your budget. So I had a $10,000 budget, 45% pipeline. Hit save here, and it's going to say, okay, you've got 4,500 in the pipeline, against what you are forecasting. A few other things I can do here. I could share this lead with other people. I'm sorry, my internet is being very slow today. But open up this menu and you can see available people that you can share with. We also have a nice feature called questionnaires, and that allows you to add questionnaires and additional fields to the above. So I can say, um, and I can show you an example of some questionnaires that I have here. So here's like a CCTV questionnaire. How many cameras do you have? What manufacturer, right? This is a short and sweet one, but here's, a qualifying services. Do you currently have an access control system? What manufacturer are you using? What video system? How many cameras? Why are you interested in a change, right? So this questionnaire would pop up right here within the lead. So you could answer the questions as you go. And whether it's a business development person or you are just a salesperson, rather than writing War and Peace in the notes, you have a quick area to say, okay, they're interested in A, B, C, D. It's a 4-story building. And then all those questions are stored within the opportunity to come back to later. Moving on to the Notes tab, this is just a free form area for notes. I like it as time, date, and user stamped. And this will satisfy whether or not you have updated a lead. So again, you have a long sales cycle. You might not even get to the quote phase, or you might be in the quoting phase and the negotiation phase for many, many months. If you, as long as I am adding notes and tasks to my lead, it will satisfy the fact that I have updated and worked on this lead recently, so it won't fall in that untouched leads bucket. Also, if someone else writes notes in your lead, it will automatically notify the owner. So this notify owner will be automatically checked on if you are not the lead owner when you open it. I sometimes will click the notify owner myself in my own lead because it will again send that email notification to me. And so if I wrote a note, Michelle needed to cancel the appointment, rescheduling for next week, that will put an email in my inbox as well. And I personally like that as a reminder of something to do. Tasks and schedule, probably the next place you'd spend the most time. This is where you're going to see your calendar. And sometimes there's a little confusion here. It is a split screen. So there's a tasks menu and a calendar schedule menu. They are the same, just one is written as like a list of tasks and one is showing it as a calendar. So for example, if I say I'm going to go meet with somebody tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I will double click the calendar. I'm going to pick a task type, which is a customizable drop down. I'm going to say I'm going to go do a job walk with them. I can invite other users if I want, and now I can hit save. That lands on my calendar as well as it's a row here in my task list. So the reason there is a difference is one, you might just want to see a list of tasks and not scroll around your calendar, but two, I could add just a task I need to do. Like I could just say, I need to do a follow-up call to John. As long as you don't click add to calendar, it doesn't block that whole time out on your calendar. So if you are making a lot of cold calls or something and you don't want to have, each call takes 10 minutes and you don't want to have all these appointments just all cluttered up on the same time of your calendar, I would just add it as a task and just say, yeah, I completed that. And now I'm also going to do a new task where I'm going to call them again in 2 weeks. And so, and again, you could choose or not to put that on your calendar, but now I save that and it is a task. That add to calendar is what flags it. I need to pick a type. So I'm going to say we're going to go do a job walk in a couple weeks. So now I have that task. And if I went to global calendar, for example, I could see all the tasks I need to do, and I could run a task report on somebody else if I needed to and see, okay, what was Samantha up to last week? How many calls did she do? What's moving the needle type of thing. Okay, so moving along here, after you've filled in the basic info, added your notes, and recorded tasks, that's probably most of the areas you will use within the lead, right? I'm going to keep coming back to this lead, moving the needle forward, right? We had our first meeting, a scope meeting, scope. Now we're going to design the proposal, in which that might be the trigger point to go to a quote. So I would recommend even detailing that in the description so that everyone's following, at what point are we going to move from lead to opportunity to request for quote, which is the trigger point to now move this lead and say, let's create a job now for it in either Quote Anywhere or WeEstimate. So I'm going to do that next. We're going to say, yep, I'm ready for a quote. We're going to hit request for quote and hit save. And now it's saying, okay, are you sure you want to do that? I can't change it back, which is fine. All this is really means is that in order to win this lead, I will have to win the job that it makes. So I'm going to say, okay. And now it's saying, great, I'm ready to create a proposal for you. I just have a few more questions in which now job type, sales type, and system type become data points that I need to fill in. Job type and system type are live reads from some accounting softwares we integrate with. And this is nice because when you win the job and it imports over into that system, then it has the proper job type and system type. It's also great from a reporting standpoint. And lastly, any of these drop downs could drive things like the commission rate is now different because it's new, it's a new customer versus a current customer, or the approval path is different if it's fire versus some other system type. It could even drive the way your proposal looks. So some people have, if the market vertical is anything but residential, show this page, but if it's residential, show them all these other offerings. So good to understand as much as you can from your system admins what triggers what so that you can automate as much as possible rather than having to manually select a lot of things when you get to the proposal. And then from a reporting standpoint, coming back to these drop downs and giving them a refresh every once in a while can be really helpful, especially when you're trying to drive certain things, for the new year. So once I do this, again, there's some other little things that could come into play. Like if you have a pricing contract, like a government schedule or a state contract or a national account, you might use this module. If you are not going to engineer this project, but someone else is, you might assign an engineer. Otherwise, I'm going to work on this job myself. I'm going to say billing is the same, save me a few clicks later. And I'm going to create this in Quote Anywhere, but I could, in either case, WeEstimate or Quote Anywhere, lead number 1, 2, 3 will turn into job number 4, 5, 6, and then you can keep going. Now, we're doing an entire webinar next month on Quote Anywhere, so I won't go into the weeds there, but Quote Anywhere is basically the new web-based WeSuite. We are rewriting the entire WeEstimate platform in the web. It's about 75% done. If you have not seen Quote Anywhere yet, definitely join next month's webinar. Really, what I want to stress is that this, job number, which many of you are used to, right, bin 222-1-0, if I open up my desktop WeSuite, I'm going to see that exact same job sitting there and the exact same folders. And I have my job screen and my document screen. I can add all my parts, labor, service. So it is literally mirroring WeEstimate, but all in the web. So that's an exciting webinar for next month. All right, coming back to WeOpportunity, I will see this is in an RFQ stage, as well as opportunity number 14094 just created job number 22210. Okay, and so now at that point, I would continue working on that job. A few other things before, there are a few questions piling up, so I do want to mention some of these other tabs I didn't talk about. Customer info is where you would change any of the customer info that you already added. So the customer name is actually ABC Company LLC and not ABC Inc. So changing customer would happen here. I like to add in the websites as well, site and billing if I entered anything wrong. And then contacts is also very important. Many of you are working with large organizations. The main point of contact I already added was George. But I also want to add any other contacts that I might be talking to. And so we're going to add, Samantha Smith, who's the CTO, and, they're an influencer in this project, and they are with Valley Hospital. And let's just add a phone number here and an email. Now I use the same names over and over, so let's okay, so now I have 2 contacts, and I could have 3 or 4 or 5, right? What's nice again is it's a one and done. Once you add in all the contacts for a specific organization, the next time you go and create a lead for them or a job for them, all those contacts will be available. So the main point of contact is important because that's who is going to be the sent to on the proposal and their names on the cover page and that type of thing. So if Samantha's actually going to be the main point of contact, I could switch her to the main point of contact. And now George is going to change to Samantha. Okay, so you want to make sure you have your contacts all entered in here, and that will all just continue to flow downstream. History is just a running history of the lead, so it records events automatically, like when the lead was created, when it was passed to somebody else, if it was lost and then passed again to someone else. It will also record tasks, so this is a good place. This is why I really recommend, even if you're not using our entire integration with Outlook and all that, recording tasks is a couple clicks. You can do it on the mobile app on the phone as well if you don't have that on your phone for the iPhone or Android store. It's called WeSuite Go, and it is basically WeOpportunity, but on an app on your phone. And it's a great way to add tasks, add notes, pass a lead around, things that you can't do on the web-based WeOpportunity, which is also being completely rewritten into Quote Anywhere. So by the end of the year, we expect one login for all things WeSuite. Um, but if you are adding your tasks diligently, even if you're not adding and completing and editing, I use this religiously to say, okay, I had 4 calls with them, 2 demos, 3 budget reviews, 2 more demos, and you see the whole life cycle of the lead. And again, if you are really trying to record activity for your salespeople, this is a good way to make sure that that's being visible in the software. Um, Send message is a nice little feature. The purpose of send message was for a lot of business development people that are just hitting the phones hard and running and can send a quick note out through WeSuite to say, great, thanks for scheduling an appointment with me, George. Your technician will be there tomorrow to review our your salesperson who they're going to come in this truck. Here's a picture of them. Here's the packages they're going to offer. And it's kind of like getting a confirmation from Open Table, right? You don't respond to that email. It's just a confirmation reservation type of email. We are enhancing these type of emails sending from the system to allow it to link to your email. So if someone does respond to that email, it goes right to you. It's not there yet. But if you use it for what its purpose is, it could be really helpful. Counter way I've seen people use it is a way to store attachments in the lead. So you can add attachments here. So if I put in, this questionnaire that I want to send to somebody, or maybe I took pictures of the site as I was walking. Instead of sending to the customer, I could send to myself, or I could send to, we have message groups. So you could say, send it to the engineering team. And now they're all going to get an email that for lead number 1234, here are the pictures, here are the drawings, here's whatever else. And now it's all stored in this lead. Then when you go to the history tab, so if I put myself in here as a manual ad just for speed, and I said, see attached, that will go out. And then in the history, I have the message and the attachments here. So that all stays here for me. All right, getting almost to the end here. Products and services. This is also not a heavily used tab, but it can do it can be very helpful, again, if you use it for what it's intended for. So the purpose of products and services was a quick way to maybe have a list of services or products that you offer. You don't have to get in the weeds of every single device and part number, but it could just be, hey, this person is interested in monitored access control, a residential fire and security system, and exterior cameras, right? It's just bing, 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 and it adds it as a list. This is not a replacement for the quote. When you go and build the quote, you're still going to have a blank slate. You need to add parts, labor, and service. But it's a nice way to just say this person's interested in this, this, and this, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of time writing a lot of notes or even sifting through notes that you wrote. Some people have run reports on this as well, so they can see, okay, what are people interested in, what are people buying. And then lastly, if you are not going to keep this lead, but you are the business development type person, you'll fill in everything you know, and then you'll pass to someone else. And you have a few options. In this case, I can pass to any of these other salespeople. But if I had the permissions, I might see two more options in this white space where I could pass to an office or I can pass to a group. Office just means if your system has many offices, I might just want to pass to a specific office, and then someone who is a office manager, office admin would then distribute the lead to a salesperson. And group is just an even more granular. Maybe within the office you have groups, so it's going to go to the fire team or the inside sales versus outside sales. Okay, so my last topic was about reporting, and that was one of the questions that had come in. So how do we use WeOpportunity for hunters to find leads and assign them to other salespeople? We need to generate reporting, showing leads generated status, and measure productivity. So there's a lot of things that could go into this, and we can talk to you about your specific system, but the best way to do that is going to be using the reporting under the WeOpportunity URG. And also we did an entire session in December about prospecting. So there's a layer in the system called prospecting, which allows you to have kind of more open-ended way to enter leads into the system that are maybe not warm leads yet, right? You get a list of, 400 restaurants and you just want to start calling all of them and putting your feelers out there. I might want to create that as a prospect because as I just walked through with a lead, I had to fill in, a lot of different tabs in order to get, to satisfy this lead. With prospecting, it's just a one-sheeter. I made a cold call to Samantha's restaurant, and I called Samantha Perry, and that's her phone number, and I'm going to say left voicemail. That's what I do all the time, right? And then I'm going to save and close. If I got a hit, I'm a hunter, I got a hit, I'm going to hit create lead, and then I could assign it to a salesperson. Or if I am a salesperson, I could just keep this cold prospect and now turn it into a warm lead. So the best thing to do would probably be to sit with you and your team and see how are they doing things now and how could we design the system in easy steps and workflow that they could repeat it and fill in all the lead opportunity. And then from the reporting side, you'd be able to measure all of the metrics. So let's go over there now. So now if I go into the reporting, so the WeOpportunity URG stands for Universal Reporting Grid, but it's really just a custom report builder. I'm going to click filters at the top. So I'm going to say let's do, 2024, just because there's a lot of stuff in my system from last year. Last updated date. I want to see all leads, opportunities, lost sales, and sold sales, right? I don't want on hold and I don't want deactivated. But again, I could run different reports and save different views for just sold, just open pipeline. But let's just throw all of it in there. I also am going to choose this, whether or not you have the select my employees button is important as well. If I'm allowed to see other people's stuff, I'll see this button, and then I'll be only able to see the names of who I'm allowed to see. So in our demo system, I'm Joe, Tracy's Jack, we got Justin here, and let's also put in John. So now I'm going to hit refresh. And I'm going to see, great, here's all my sales team. Here's all the opportunities they have. And in the summary tab, it's just overall how many leads does each person have in each stage of the funnel. The details tab is probably more what you want. And this has lots and lots of different data, and I can rearrange what I want. So you specifically asked for status, um, who created it, who's the salesperson now, and what stage are we at. So I'm going to do exactly that. I have the owner, status. Maybe I don't want this for right now. I'm going to put created by. I'm going to put the, um, yeah, I do want these actually. That's going to be the budget of the sale. Sorry, these are the budget of the sale. Where's my budget here? And I want pipeline percentage and where I'm at in the pipeline, and maybe I want the last note I wrote and the upcoming appointment date. And now I have that all as my grid here. You could rearrange it in a way that you want. So I like last update in the front. I'll put status and ID in the front as well. Then I have owner, name, title, budget, close date, who created the lead. I could put create date as well, so you could see created date versus current date, because we also have a column for days to close, the pipeline, an upcoming appointment, and the last note. So now I'm going to add this as a view, and I'm going to call it my pipeline view. So now I don't have to, I could even make it my default. But now I don't have to come in and build that every time. I just pull it up in my view. And so you could save as many views as you want. And then now as a salesperson, I use this, I sort by last updated date, and I could see, okay, I haven't called this person since December 11th. So let me hit this pencil. I'm going to call them, and whatever happens, happens. I'm going to write a note and say, you know, they asked to meet in 2 weeks. I would spell that correctly. We'll go to tasks. I'm going to put a task here for 2 weeks from now. And I could add it to the calendar, right? But that's done. And now I go back to my report, and I need a task type. I'm going to do a follow-up call. And now I come back here and I go to the next one and the next one. And then when I refresh this, my update date is going to be satisfied and all the other things I need to do, right? Or if I have to submit pipeline every Friday, I'm going to sort by pipeline instead. Now you can do multiple filters on filters, but I'm just going to keep it simple. I have all of these in a pipeline, right? And so these are all sold. Let me turn sold off and lost off. Let's just look at pipeline only. And so now I can see, great, I forecasted all of these things, but you saw I had a handful of zeros. And so this would tell me, okay, I need to go into each of these leads and update my estimated close date and my pipeline. And what's nice is you have access to these reports, your sales team has access to these reports. So as long as you're all following, you all know what is required, right? Every lead should have an accurate close date and an accurate, pipeline percentage. And it's also, I think, a good idea to review what are your pipeline stages, right? This is different than forecast. Forecast is on the quote side where you're going to say, I think this job has a 90% chance to close or 50% chance that it'll close. Pipeline in this case is a little more like, what phase are we at in the pipeline, right? I could have a bunch of leads, but we're at different stages of the leads phase. Are we in the discovery stage? Are we all the way down the line at the budget phase? And so making your pipeline the legitimate steps of the sales process makes it very easy to see where are you at, where are things getting stuck, what steps do we need to tighten up, as well as things like one of our stages is lost. And when you click lost, it pops a, why are you losing this lead? And that's another drop down that you could set up. Was it budget? Are they out of your service area? Did they go with a competitor? And those are all things you can run reports on. So hopefully that was helpful. I mean, we did a webinar probably October, November about all things reporting. There's also a pretty thorough class in the Teachable portal that you can watch. It has a data dictionary of all the data that we have, as well as how to build views. There are also a few just point and click type of reports if you just wanted to see like a PDF printout of, leads by count, leads by status. But I kind of prefer the grid because I can customize my own views. So I think that's probably a good place to start. Um, okay, couple questions about the link to the webinar next month for Quote Anywhere. So I think that is great. We'll go into that in a second when we talk about next month's webinars. But any other WeOpportunity questions while I have everybody? Um, it's a lot of you on here, so I want to make sure I'm hitting things that you guys need. But I think like any CRM, there's a lot of bells and whistles, right? It's like going to the gym. If you give yourself too much to do, you kind of give up on it after a while. I think having a very clear workflow to create leads and then moving those leads to a quote, then you can come back and say, okay, where can we add more data? Or, hey, let's start using tasks more. Let's start putting in more accurate pipeline. Because if you do everything in the kitchen sink, it's just not going to get done. So I think that's kind of the best strategy. And definitely download SweetGo on your phone if you don't have it. And sorry, yeah, someone reminded me about the maps. So the map feature, there was a lot of future enhancements we would like to make to this. So let's just put that out there. But the thing that's nice about it right now, so here I am in White Plains, New York. Hopefully a lot of you are in a much sunnier area. I can see my opportunities and I could say, let's put all my one customers on the map. So now it plants these green dollar signs, right? And again, my demo is there's just things all over the place, but you might be much more tied to a local area or something. And so if I zoom way out, you can see I have dollar signs, all over this area. And if I zoom in, I'm going to see more closely like exactly what site addresses these are at. And so it was kind of more of like a heat index, like where are my leads at, right? Here's my open leads in all these statuses and hit go. And it's going to put these other icons on here. And so if I was trying to plan out my day and, oh yeah, so and so is pretty close to this person, so I'm going to go drive by there and see what they're up to. You can click and get directions, and I think the directions thing doesn't always work. It's something to do in the server as well, that it's like it'll pull up like Google Maps and give you to the turn-by-turn directions on this side. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I put in a lot of fake addresses. That's why it doesn't know what it wants to do. But that was kind of the purpose of this Maps tab. And I think if you're using it as kind of more of a heat index, it's great. What we had wanted to do and might do in the future is that as you're walking around, you might be able to just drop pins on the places you've door knocked, and you can then say turn into a lead, and it will fill in the business's name and site and things like that. Does it show customers whose area already in the data? Sorry, I'm not understanding the question, but I think what you're saying is the data has to be in the system for it to drop a pin. It's not just going to show you, and this is actually where we're internally working on how can we incorporate AI into the software to say like, show me local businesses in the area, and it'll be like, boom, here's a bunch of addresses to use from a prospecting standpoint. I think that's what you're asking. But right now it's just going to drop pins on the leads you already have. And then question, how do I get my maps button to show up in WeOp? I don't see that. Okay, so to turn any of these menus on is under settings. So you would go to settings, and if you're an admin, you're allowed to do this. You would go to group rights, and then under the group rights, you would give the visibility to see the maps section under sales tools here. So map access, and you give it to the group you want to give it to. And so same with any of these, right? If you're not using prospecting and you want to use prospecting, you would turn on the prospecting dashboard access to the sales team, and then you could indicate what fields you want to require or not. So, I don't want to require address, but I do want to require, phone number at least or something. And same with the WeOpportunity URG and any of the reporting. If you want the users to have access to it, you give them a group rights access. But then in addition to that, you would have to give them access to see one person, two people, the whole team, things like that. Okay, awesome. I'll also mention, just because most of you are probably used WeOp for some time, to search leads you already have outside of the reporting. I can just search, um, Dunkin' Donuts. Now I use the same customers over and over, so I'm about to probably get 4,000 leads. But this would just be a quick search, and it will show you, oh yeah, you worked on lead number 123. Or if I'm just going to look up, Kevin, or a phone number or something, it's going to say, yep, here's that lead that you're looking for Bliss Spa or something like that. So that's a good way to just search, and you could filter that as well. So you could search by name, address, phone number, street name, anything like that. It's going to search the database and find any matches. And you could also, there's an advanced search for people that have national accounts, and you might want to drill down more into, McDonald's, but at this site or this area, so you're not seeing like everything in the system. Um, yeah, so that's a good thing to do there. I would really recommend tailoring the dashboard to a way that it helps you, right? If you want to just put untouched leads, to shorten that up to, depends on how long your sales cycle is. It could be 3 days, it could be 3 months. But I found it very helpful to say, oh yeah, I forgot about so and so. Let me open that up and see what they're up to. Okay, so with that, I will leave it to Michelle to chime in and walk us through next month's webinars. Thanks a lot, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Sam. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We hope you've learned some good information to take back to yourselves and share with your teams. If you need to refer to this webinar again, it will be posted on our website this week under Education Training Webinars. Don't forget to mark your calendars for our upcoming webinars. Next month's webinars, our system admin webinar is going to be based off of how to configure WeSuite proposal document editor features and system defaults. That will occur on Tuesday, February 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And our sales user webinar will be featuring our quote anywhere and the site survey, which includes new features. So definitely want to join that one. And that is going to be on Tuesday, February 18th, also at 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all again for joining. Take care and have a great rest of your week.